Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Family Home Evening.
With Bad Mormons.
I'm Mandy.
And I'm Charlotte.
I'm Michael.
No fast names.
Oh my god.
It's going to be really funny when I just edit that out and put a beep over it.
I have that name that just goes it flows so well. So I'm just used to saying it. So
It really does.
my name is Michael Trump.
Don't do it, no.
We are recording a podcast for you this week from the most fabulous tiki bar I've ever been in. And you all know me, I love a tiki bar.
Right? I would say best tiki bar in all of South Orange County.
I would say west of the Mississippi at least.
Right? You know what? You're correct, sir.
Well done.
Thank you. Welcome to the Tropic of Cancer.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this rum we're partaking of.
Cheers.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Tell us what we're drinking.
So the rum that we are drinking now is Diplomatico Reserve from Venezuela, which is pretty tasty
delightful.
in my opinion.
Wouldn't consider myself a rum drinker, but I'm like, this is just, it's like a little sweeter whiskey.
There's not too many rums from South America that are that great. That's where some of the dodgy ones come from. But this one is the par excellence of South American rum. So
fabulous.
Enjoy.
Cheers. We knew we were coming over here, so I was like, everyone knows I work at a grocery store, and I was like, "Ooh, I'll get a nice bottle of rum to bring over." And guess how many SKUs of rum we had? One. And guess what it was?
And it's the one that will not be spoken of in this tiki bar, unfortunately.
We shall not whisper its name.
Don't name it in this bar. I have it, and it's on the very bottom shelf with lots of dust. And
It starts with a B and ends with "shut the fuck up."
Exactly. It's awful.
So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us in the Tiki Bar.
The Tiki Bar.
Man, I mean, you're really kind of missing out, though. Like, it's kind of amazing.
It's seriously amazing. Copies of Modern Drunkard everywhere.
Yes.
So much kitsch.
159 bottles of rum.
Yes.
A little bit of everything in here.
Are we in heaven?
We're in heaven. We made it.
Is this Zion?
We've escaped.
It's Zion.
So I couldn't even, if I tried to describe everything I'm looking at right now, I could just go on for an hour. It's so magical.
It's a lot.
No,
if
but
I
that's
ever
the
have
point,
to move
though.
out of here, I'm going to be fucked because I don't want to have to move any of this stuff. I mean, for God's sakes, I am kind of a hoarder, as you can see. I have too much stuff.
But I feel like that's part of a tiki bar, right?
It
Is
is
that
part of
there's
the
a
tiki
lot
bar.
to look at.
There is. And it's supposed to be overwhelming. It's supposed to create an environment where you're kind of forgetting about the outside world, where you're forgetting about work, forgetting about politics, forgetting about family, forgetting about whatever might be getting on your nerves. You just kind of escape into here. That's the idea of a tiki bar, anyways, to escape. And
It's fabulous.
I have lots of things to escape from sometimes, so it does the trick.
Well, it's too bad no one's escaping from this podcast, though.
The only thing that could make this tiki bar any better is if our patrons were here with us.
Right. Aw.
Cheers to
Cheers.
our
Cheers,
patrons.
patrons.
We're having one in your honor.
Very special to us. We love you.
At this rate, we're going to be shit-faced by the time we get to Mormon Corner.
That does
All
happen in a
right.
tiki bar.
So,
People always think rum, they think of the little umbrellas and there's nothing. That's a girly drink. Boy,
a girl drink drunk, if you will.
this will knock your knickers off in no time.
I think I might have told you the
Proper.
story, but some of our listeners might remember this one too. So there's a rum distillery in Hawaii on the island of Oahu called Kohana Rum.
I have a few bottles of Kohana rum.
Do
In
you?
fact, I do. Yes.
It's so good. It's so
Yes.
fun. It's a little sweet.
It
but
is very sweet.
Mandy puts it in her
but is
coffee.
good.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go.
But so I took at the time when I was out there living, we had this thing where we could do a team building sort of retreat sort of thing or whatever, and I was in charge of it. So I was like, we're going to the fucking rum distillery.
Nice.
And my boss at the time she brought a hydro flask full of rosé, like a 32 ouncer. And she was drinking that through the rum tour. We're out in the cane fields, and luckily it's a nice overcast day, so it's not beating sun. But they're showing us the different stages of growth and how that makes the different styles and the whole thing. Get to the barreling of it and the whatever. And then you get to the end, to the gift shop where you get to start tasting it. So she's fucked up from drinking 32 ounces of rosé. And then we all start tasting
drinking rum. Yeah, that's a great idea.
And then we have to go set up camp. And that's a story for another day.
Right. This is for your work?
Yeah.
And did HR get involved towards the end? Because there could be problems with
They
that.
did, yeah.
Okay.
There were some questions that were asked. Not till like a year later, but eventually there were questions.
Right. But did you guys feel togetherness? Did you have a team building
We
session
did.
after all of that?
Yeah, we really...
The morale was really lifted
Yes.
afterwards.
It was
Exactly.
good. It was a good time. I should actually put that in my notes because that's a funny story. But yeah, so... Anyways, yeah, rum.
That's good.
That's what that popped in my head, rum. We're
Well,
drinking rum.
We're drinking rum in a rum tiki bar.
Yes.
I have things to repent for.
Yeah, you do.
So for anybody who listened to last week's episode, I'm sorry. We had gone to the breakfast with the Beatles. They were very generous with the champagne. And by the time we gotten back to the house, I opened up another bottle of champagne. And I kind of remember talking, but not a lot. I was so excited about my Beach Boys tickets I won.
Have you heard about the Breakfast with the Beatles, Michael?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is, so tell me what it is.
KLOS, so
Oh boy, is
95.5.
that still around?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And Chris Carter, longest running Beatles show.
Radio show.
Okay.
He was the guitarist, bass player for Dramarama. Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Local hero, Chris Carter.
I know that.
I didn't know that.
The one song by Dramarama that everybody knows.
Yeah.
That everybody knows.
Yeah, I think we
Yes.
sang it last week
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
Did we? I don't remember that. So again, I repent. But anyways, great. It's great. It's all about the Beatles. It's really fun. And I won tickets to go see the Beach Boys at the Greek Theater. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, then we scrapped our episode we recorded earlier the day before because we were like, oh, we're too low energy. We just got off work. This isn't fun.
Right.
It's not exciting. We need to have a couple drinks first. And then it was an hour and a half of recording
Uh-huh.
and 2.5 hours of me editing while
I'm
Charlotte
so
took
sorry.
a fucking nap.
I was so tired. I slept all day too. It was great. I needed it.
Yeah, so the repenting is only being done by Charlotte.
I apologize that I'm pretty sure it was a good episode if Mandy released it and didn't just skip it. So I mean, you're welcome to, but I do apologize to Mandy for all of the editing she had to do.
Did you see the Beach Boys?
No, it's not until next month.
Are you gonna drive all the way to the Greek Theater to see?
Shit, yeah.
The
The
two
remaining
remaining-
members.
I would assume they're gonna come out in wheelchairs.
Listen,
And-
my
and
dad's favorite band is
my
the Beach
dad's favorite
Boys.
band as well is the Beach Boys.
Does
I
your
grew
dad
up-
want to go with me?
don't
Because
think-
no one else does.
I don't think he
Nobody
would.
else wants to go.
I don't think he would be bothered to drive all the way out to the Greek Theater. Have you
Listen,
parked?
I'll
The parking is a pain in the ass at the Greek Theater.
I went and saw Neil Diamond's Hot August Nights reunion tour there, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right, it was great. And
Bit of
then
a
I
drive,
also got to see Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie,
Okay.
from the only good members of Fleetwood Mac.
You know what? Hold the phone. I'm actually going to repent right now because I feel like we should have started this at the beginning on how we know Michael and why Michael's here.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I
I'm
was
just this random guy that just kind of showed up. Like, yeah, I want to be on a podcast.
No, we heard you had a tiki bar, so we just showed up to your house.
I was just thinking, I was like, you're telling all these stories, and I was like,
Yes.
oh, Michael gets to see what a person Charlotte's become, which is an old man, music loving,
Listen,
old people.
I love old man music.
But Michael, we've known Michael since 1980.
I mean,
80.
I'm 40.
Nine?
I'm 44, so I've probably known y'all for about 35 years, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we were
It's been a while.
neighbors in Mission Viejo.
He was our next door neighbor, and I was friends with his sister first, and she's awesome, but she was really into Disney, and we were.
Listen, don't say that as if it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to explain how, like. No, you know what? Go on.
Here's this. Here. Let me paint the picture for you. I'm in the 7th grade. Michael's in what, the 5th grade? Maybe.
I would have been in the 5th grade, I think, yeah, when you first showed up.
Yeah.
And I think you and your brother Kelly were there in the beginning. There's so many of y'all that
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Right. Yes.
You know, who came and who went and
Yeah.
everything. But I think it was you and... No, it wasn't... I can't remember.
Casey, maybe.
Casey.
Yeah.
Yes, Casey was there in the beginning. It wasn't Kelly. Kelly came, I think, the summer afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That makes
but
sense.
yes.
And then,
Right.
which means Charlotte would have been in what, kindergarten maybe?
Yeah,
or
I was-
first
I was-
grade.
Yeah.
I was kindergarten when we first got there. Actually, I don't think I was in kindergarten yet. I was not in
You were
kindergarten,
young.
and then I went to kindergarten like the following year.
Okay.
So
I mean, I've known you since you were, you're
Right.
almost in your diapers, practically.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why you wouldn't be like best friends with a 5th grade boy and you would be more friends with the sister.
Fully aware. And again, I
Right.
wasn't trying to say anything bad about Melissa. I was jumping ahead, which is like, we'll go along with it, but it was like when I'm a degenerate person that I became, Melissa's way too good for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
She just went on different paths.
she's a good kid and I wasn't. So I mean, that's why I was saying I became friends with her brother.
That's true. Well, she's here now. She's changed as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, we have known each other for a very long time, and then just recently, last week, reconnected. I think we might have told you guys. Actually, I might have cut it.
No, you cut it.
Because Charlotte wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
Well, I
Anyways,
was drunk. I don't remember.
We were very excited. Michael reached out of the blue after all this time, and we were like, fuck yeah. Then we went to karaoke. We drank whiskey, and here we are now.
Here we
But it was
go.
really fun because, again, I was like, well, I probably haven't seen him since I moved away from Mission Viejo. And it's like, oh, no, I saw him. Like, I forgot all the times he came by the house and, like, going to Washington. I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
It wasn't just a, hey, goodbye, neighbor, I moved. It was like, so we kept in touch here and there. So, we're, you know.
Well, it's probably been about 15 years since I've interacted with you, with any of your sisters, anything like that. So
Well, oddly
it's
enough,
it's good to
I still
see
had
you again.
my,
Yeah, it's good to see
Yeah,
you
it's
too.
good to see
So
you
good to
too.
see you.
Yeah.
I was
We're
going
going to
to
be
say,
best friends after
Exactly.
this because
We're-
we're very similar. We've grown up to be very similar people, I
Right?
think.
Isn't that scary?
It's
It's kind of weird.
I was
how that
actually just
happens.
thinking that before we started recording and we were chatting and laughing, and I'm like, now, did we influence him? Did he influence us? Or would we have still been the exact same people if we were never neighbors to begin with and
It
didn't
was
know
in
each
the,
other?
It was in the soil of where we live.
Right.
Like, it just came up and we just became like, the same person and stuff like that. So,
You know what? We did a little pre-huddle. We did some shots. We did a little pre-podcast huddle, what we were going to talk about. I'm changing my story to the last time I hung out with Michael because that's a good one.
Oh, boy.
I was wondering why that wouldn't be the one you were going to tell.
Well, let's
That
just
should-
see what happens.
That should be a fun, interesting story.
Well, to keep on somewhat track, so we'll
Yes.
go into cool shit.
Well,
Oh, no,
we're at
Mormon-
Mormon Corner.
So sorry. Again, the shots. The shots.
Always a good idea.
At least we're not drinking shots of rum and drinking wine like our normal go-to. I mean, it's whiskey, but,
Yeah. We do have, we do have Mormon Corner. We are on the 108th Mormon
Dang.
Corner today.
It's a lot.
I know, it is a really lot.
It's a lot about a religion that's stupid.
Well,
I didn't say that. I'll let you guys say that.
to be fair,
It's confusing, but
it's just a little tidbits here and there. It's not really about the religion. That's just our hook to get you in and be like, Mormon kids, they do bad shit. However, I did want to say, we had this thing planned out. One of the books that we found, if you guys have been listening to our podcast, a few episodes back, we were in the land of Zion. We traveled as the pioneers did down the I-15 to Southern California. We stopped in Cedar City, and Charlotte picked up some treasures, one of which is a book called Between Husband and Wife. It's obviously marketed towards a woman.
It's the gospel perspective on marital intimacy.
Yes, it's got calla lilies.
oh boy.
The script is flowy. It is meant for a woman. This is not marketed towards a man. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely.
We'll post a picture for
I
you
will
guys.
tell you this. I was disappointed when it wasn't like a Harlequin novel that was geared towards Mormons, which is really what I wanted.
No,
but
you're
you
sorely
can't,
mistaken.
You can't win them all.
I also want to point out that, like most Mormon publications that are geared towards women, it is written by two men.
2 doctorates. But let me say,
Two doctorates.
Yeah, 2 doctorates of religion. What are they doctors
Who knows?
of?
It could be art. We don't know. It's got a PhD and an MD after their names. But I was going to talk about this, and then I thought it would be more fun to just kind of catch Michael up on some of the 108 episodes he might have missed.
Right? And I'm sure our listeners who also don't care about religion would like to know too.
Yeah, so we're just going to tantalize you with husband and wife, and I'm going to let you know that next week you're going to hear a little story about
Did you write in my book? How dare you?
Yes, I did. I'm
just
sorry.
kidding. I don't care.
It basically, the idea of this chapter is how could it have been better and different if we had known what we were doing when we're not allowed to talk about sex because we're Mormon? And it's quite hilarious so far.
That actually sounds awesome. Next week.
Look forward to that next week. Closing the chapter on that. Now, Michael, let's fill you in on what you missed. So, so this would have been before we met you. Did you know our mom kidnapped us and went to live with a bunch of polygamists in Utah?
I didn't know that one, no. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Charlotte was just a baby.
I was like born. I think maybe I was like 6 months old.
Yeah, that would have been before. When year did you guys move to Mission Viejo? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I had a spreadsheet that I used to carry with me.
It was like, if I have to guess, I think I was 4. So
I mean, at that time, I was so young. It's not something that you just bring up to. I mean, I was in 5th grade.
Right.
Like, hey, did you know that I did this and this and that? I mean, at that time, I was,
Yeah. Hey, we just got back from the polygamist camp that we went to.
I might have been watching He-Man at the time, so I probably wouldn't even know what a Mormon was.
Yeah, we didn't really understand the implication of it either. In fact, Charlotte didn't even realize she had lived with polygamists until
I was 22.
Yeah, at the co-op.
Right? Mandy made some crack of, hey, I was like, who would eat dandelion greens? Gross. Like, I didn't think about it for a salad or whatever. Right. She's like, you don't remember eating dandelions on the compound? I'm like, what compound? She's like, compounds.
Yeah.
Did it all kind of like rushing back?
No, not. I mean, I was 6 months old. How am I going to remember, right?
That's true.
But she's just like, when Mom married a polygamist? Oh, that's right. You'd be too young to remember that. Mom married a polygamist. Like, shut the fuck up. I think I would know whether Mom married a polygamist or not. And she's like, oh, go ask Mom.
3 polygamists, actually.
3 of them.
Yeah. Different. Yeah, we got bounced around a little.
I don't think they knew where to put her.
Was she ever the first, or was she always like the sloppy third,
second,
fourth?
Fill in the blank.
Oh,
yeah. So we got that going for us. We have a cousin who is a self-proclaimed prophet of an FLDS sect that he's created.
Really?
He baptizes people in swimming pools. He drives a truck and he podcasts. And when we first, actually, that's kind of what gave us the idea to start a podcast, because we're like, well, if he can fucking do it, we can fucking do it. But yeah, so our cousin the prophet, that's a recurring theme.
Right. Yeah.
We're still not 100% sure if anyone's going to be murdered because of it. We're hoping everyone's okay.
But some fucked up shit happened.
Hopefully he doesn't have like a whole bunch of guns or anything like that.
I'm sure he
guns
does.
and religion, it never ends well.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then the Mormons always think, the Lamanites are coming. The Mexicans.
Right.
And so they've got to protect
Utah,
themselves.
Right in the middle. Where,
Right.
Nobody can get to them in Utah, the mountains. And
Right.
Mexicans don't like the snow or anything like
Right.
that. So that's why they say Utah.
Let's see
That's
what
according
else.
to them.
Right. Yeah.
Our mom's QAnon. She loves QAnon.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Let's see what else.
She just got COVID.
Well,
But
that's
she
not
doesn't
that.
believe in it,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
No, I guess there's a whole other story there, Mandy.
We'll save that for later.
Okay.
We'll save that for later.
I find it interesting that usually the people that don't have COVID are the ones that get the COVID. I know a few people that I don't believe in this and anti-vaccine or anything like that, and all of a sudden, I have COVID. Oh, okay, you motherfucker.
Well,
you were like, I can't, I'm not gonna get it. It's all bullshit, and it's all the leftists that are, China
You can't convince me this isn't a cold.
China flu. I
Yeah.
forgot about the China flu.
Yeah, the Wu-Tang or whatever. Not the
Wu-Tang.
The Wuhan. See, it's not in our because Trump left. We don't get his
wisdom,
yeah. Deep thoughts or anything like that on Twitter.
I feel really lost right now without him.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. What are some other highlights?
So after we left Mission Viejo and moved to Laguna Niguel, that she started having an affair with the neighbor.
Oh yeah, that's
and
good.
gave away our house.
Did
we tell you that? Yeah.
Well, I was there. I think towards the end of your
The
stepfather
courtship.
and the courtship and stuff like that, and he was
a monster.
Oh, that's another story we should have.
I mean, your family's always been fascinating. Because, well, there's so many of y'all because you're Mormons. So,
Right.
I mean, like, how many brothers and sisters are there?
There's 9 of us.
There's 9 of you, so that's, and you guys would come and go, like, there'd be brothers that would come. I'd see them for like a summer, then they would disappear, and then they'd come back, and we were friends, and then when they come back, we're not friends. You might.
That's
Something
actually
like that.
fascinating to hear from somebody else's perspective, because we know each other because we're family, so they come and go. That's just normal. But for other people, like, I don't know, there's a new kid there.
All of a sudden there's another dude. You guys had a trampoline, so that was fascinating. So I was always over at your guys' house, And I'll be jumping up and down, and there'll be another one like, who's that little dude right there? So, I think your younger brother was the only one that was static. He was the only one that kind of stayed
Richard,
there.
right?
No, it was me and Richard. I only
Yeah.
tried to leave one time,
Right.
and I think, I was still in Mission Viejo when I tried.
Right.
It lasted 4 months. I came back. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you were always coming and going from Logan, Utah.
Yeah, in the summertime I'd go visit my dad, and so I
Right.
was always gone summertime.
So
You were a fascinating family to live next to.
Right.
It's just
I
fascinating.
wish I could have been an outsider looking in because that would be fascinating.
you know what I'm picturing right now is you, Michael, as a little kid looking at my mom because she was in her weird Wicca phase during part of that with her crystals.
I
Do you
remember that. I remember that. Yeah, she had
daggers
she had a
and
streak of hippiness to her, always. Which you became a hippie yourself, so it kind of makes sense.
It was just a phase.
Different kind
okay,
of
Michael,
hippie,
it was
you
a
know?
phase. We totally just grew out of that.
Gotcha.
Don't mention it to the podcast.
Say nothing at all.
They already know.
They know.
They've
They know.
seen
They
the
know
pictures.
everything.
They know.
We've laughed.
Well,
we've
if you can tell the
cried.
story that you were a goddamn hippie, and if you can tell the story of what I think you're going to tell later on, Jesus, God. You're the biggest hippie I ever met in my life.
Fair.
And you took me to hippie
Mecca.
hell, but hippie Mecca.
All right, we'll get there.
We'll get
That's
there.
the story we'll tell.
Yes.
We'll get there.
All right.
We're gonna have to do this again because the Jeff and the crowbar and the
Oh, that was a good
electric
story.
meter story,
Yeah.
that's gotta happen too.
There's all
See,
kinds
I
of good
just figured we
stories.
never told that story because how do you put a funny spin on that shit?
I mean, now I'm thinking about it. There's all kinds of good stories about Jeff because he was an odd bird.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a
Definitely an odd
nightmare.
We haven't talked about him too much on the podcast. Jeff's our ex-stepfather, who is a real fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
He is a real piece of shit. Currently, still a real piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah. Should we say his last name? No, he'll be the one to sue us.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I want nothing to do with that dude. I don't want an invitation in at all.
Yeah. Get your bad juju and keep it where it belongs.
Right? And fuck away from me.
San Diego, where you live, motherfucker.
See, living in San Diego.
Yeah, he's way
Yeah.
too close for my comfort.
Uh-huh. All right, anyway,
Okay.
so that sums it up. That's the past 30 years.
Yes, in a nutshell. Nothing
So-
else happened. You know.
So let's go to cool shit.
Okay.
I want to say I have one thing for cool. Well, I have a couple things, but one thing, and I haven't looked at it for so long that I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up the platform today and saw that we had 200,000 plays
Oh,
on our
nice.
podcast. So
We didn't even do a
Shit.
photo shoot. What the fuck?
I know. Well, we'll do a photo shoot in the Tiki Bar. 200K photo shoot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of plays. I mean,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
I
milestone.
feel really like excited about it. I'm like, oh, people like us.
I mean,
you like me. You really, really like me.
I mean, do you guys get fan letters? Do you get?
Sometimes.
We
Yeah.
have patrons, so those people who are like, hey, you know what? We like what you're doing. I want you to keep doing it. They send us $3 a month.
Do you hear
Or
from,
5 or 10 or more.
50.
Yeah.
do you hear from the Mormon Church and they like want to contribute or give you some notes? Or
They're
anything
like, where's your
that?
tithing, bitch?
They've stayed away from us for the
Okay.
most part.
Have you gotten any hate mail? I think that'd be
A
more
little
We've
bit.
gotten a couple 1-star reviews on the Apple podcast, but
Right.
they're cowards and won't tell us why we get 1 star or who they are so we can make fun of them later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck them then.
We're assuming one of them's the prophet, our cousin.
Right?
Which is why we want to make sure that we say his name every once in a while, or at least his title, so that he,
Our cousin, the prophet.
so that he stays engaged in our podcast and
Well,
listens.
congratulations on 200,000.
Hey,
That's
cheers.
that's a
Thank
whole
you.
lot of people listening. So
Yeah.
Cheers.
Do we know how many countries?
I could look, but it's a lot.
It doesn't matter. It's like 2.
No, it's like 35.
Right?
Yeah. At the very, very beginning, it was cool because, we host on Anchor, so it gives you all these, like, different KPIs, essentially, that you can look at. So it's like, how many plays, how many unique listeners, how many total views, what
Right.
countries, and all that stuff. So every time we would get a new country, we were like, oh my God, someone in Jamaica is listening to
So
us.
what you need to do is you need to get a world map, put it on your wall with the little needles, they can stick in. I've hit this country, I've hit this
idea.
country, I've hit this country.
That's a
And
good
you could
idea.
have, Joseph Smith looking over it and
Right.
make sure that he approves of that country. He might not like some of the countries down in the southern region.
Yeah, they're a little dark for his
A
liking.
little bit dark. They get a little sun down there.
A little extra melanin. He doesn't like melanin, Joseph
Exactly.
Smith.
No.
That
Not a
is-
fan.
Right. But 35 countries, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
I can get
that's
an exact
impressive.
number, but yeah,
Yeah.
I was pretty stoked to see that today because I checked obsessively every week at the beginning, and now I just haven't, like, I've got other shit to do.
Shit, no, it's a lot. So it's
Yeah,
like
that's a
Chile, Croatia, Jordan, Peru, Trinidad, Israel,
Who's listening
Taiwan,
in Jordan? Like,
Japan.
wow.
Oh, we got Japan?
Mm-hmm. Got Japan.
Nice.
1%, but it's Japan.
Konnichiwa, Japan.
Konnichiwa, Japan.
Arigato.
Yeah.
Arigato
El
gozaimasu.
Salvador.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, cool shit.
Sweet. That is pretty fucking cool.
Right?
My cool shit is I started watching on Netflix something called How to Change Your Mind with Michael Pollan. And he's the guy who writes about like all the trying to eat healthy and plant-based foods and things like that. And he essentially...
The Omnivore's Dilemma. The author of The Omnivore's Dilemma. That's why he's famous.
So he said, he's like, oh, I didn't get into hallucinogens until I was much later in life, like in his 60s. He's like, but I figured, you know, there's all these research on it, so I might as well try it. And he's like, oh, everybody should do it. I was like, I've been
Holy
saying
cow.
this the whole time.
And Timothy Leary, he didn't do it until he was like 55. 60
Well, it
years
didn't
old,
come
something
out
like that.
until the 50s, right?
Right,
So, like,
right. He
the
couldn't
60s
have-
was an easy way to be started, but it's like most people...
Well,
There's been mushrooms.
yeah, I was gonna say
Right.
there's
The
peyote.
druids and the-
yeah,
yeah.
there's other.
But I didn't know
hallucinogens,
that
but not
LSD
quite
came
acid.
from, like, Sweden.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they talk about where LSD came from, how the clinical trials, how it was doing, what the good it was doing, and how the government has erased all of that data. It's been really hard to find it. But yeah, he talks about it. He's just like, you know, you have your perception of, like, I'm looking and all I see is the rum bottles, right?
Right.
But all Mandy sees is the, you know, records up top. It's very fascinating because, again, your perception widens when you do drugs. And I can't wait to watch the one on mushrooms next because there's a 5-part series. So the first one is LSD. So I highly recommend it. Netflix, How to Change Your Mind.
I usually go for the serial killers. So you know,
Yeah.
the Richard
Right.
Ramirez, the Ted Bundy,
We
the
watched those.
John Wayne Gacy, the crazy Mormon fuck. You know,
Yeah, oh god,
those
that
ones are all
fucking Jeff
fascinating.
Warren piece
Yes.
of shit.
Yes.
To do. So me and Mandy like to watch 2 movies, not on repeat, but often. One is Poltergeist, because, you know, sometimes you just need to watch Poltergeist.
Fact.
Everybody needs a little Craig T. Nelson in their life.
Everyone does.
And then Cabin in the Woods, because it's so fucking good. So we decided after dinner one night, like, you know what, let's go home. Let's watch Cabin in the Woods. Watching, I was like, I want to watch movies that are like Cabin in the Woods. So I start searching, and of course, nothing's available. But there is a movie that I love that isn't easy to find called You're Next, which is great.
Have you seen it, Michael?
Is Cabin in the Woods the one by Eli Roth?
No,
Joss Whedon.
he's a
Okay.
producer on it. The director's somebody different.
Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen
Chris
it.
Hemsworth is in it, and it's totes worth it.
So the majority of the movies that I watch are like pre-1980.
That's
so I'm an old
fair.
man. I'm an old man.
Well,
so-
and normally movies nowadays don't really hold water to older movies,
Well,
right?
I think I there's more story in character development in the earlier movies, so that's why I
Right.
tend to gravitate towards those. The newer movies tend to be more about the effects and stuff like that. So
And I think it depends on the movie.
it depends on the movie.
So for Cabin in the Woods, I'll just go out and say, one of my good friends, Sarah, we have a projector in our backyard and we like to watch movies back there.
Oh.
And so you'll have to come to our house
I will have
next
to come
time.
to your house next time.
And so we went to Redbox to go rent a movie, and like everything was either like a rom-com, and I'm like, no, fucking no.
Bullshit.
And then
Right.
she's like, well, what about this Cabin in the Woods? I'm like, dude, some like teen like horror flick. It's gonna be fucking terrible.
Right.
And my mind kept going to House of Wax with like Paris Hilton, which to be fair is great in its own sense.
Or Cabin Fever.
Or
That
Cabin
was-
Fever, like
I think
that-
that was Eli Roth.
That's the one I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Eli Roth.
So that's
Okay.
the kind of shit I was thinking about.
Although Cabin Fever's a fucking great movie. so
Right.
I
But-
digress.
no, but that's okay. So I'm like, fine, let's just get that one because it's, again, better than the Lake House or whatever else. So we were watching it, and within the first 5 minutes, I was like, I fucking love it. Because it's funny. Like, it's well done. And then
Witty.
it's very witty. And then I swear by near the end of it, I was like, God, this kind of reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And sure as shit, Joss Whedon is attached to it.
Cabin in the Woods is a movie for people who like horror movies.
Right.
I like horror movies.
It's
thousands of
don't
them.
give anything
There's
away.
an
Yeah.
homage to probably every horror movie you can think of, and
Right.
some you haven't even seen.
Right.
See, I've been meaning to kind of go into the newer horror movies, but there's just too many old ones I just get
Stop. Oh, no.
fascinated with.
No,
and
it's the old ones. It's
yeah.
the
old ones
homages
are-
to the old ones.
Right.
right.
It's worth trying.
I'll give it a shot.
Um,
I'll give it a
But so yes, good. We've got a person who at least try it.
So then back to what segued into
Your next.
Cabin in the Woods and Your
Oh.
Next.
Then there's a movie called Mom and Dad.
There we go. We
and
made
it's
it back.
Fucking rad.
There
So also your next watch it, but Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair, and nobody else is famous in it. Well, there's some faces, but it's wonderful. Like it tells you exactly what the movie is in the description underneath it, like the tagline kind of a thing. And I mean, I don't want to say because I don't want to give it away, but it's everything.
Yeah, it's really good. And it just popped up under movies like Cabin in the Woods.
Right.
And we had to request it from the Plex server, which is...
That's illegal, but...
Listen, nobody knows who our Plex God is.
That's
except
fair.
for the guy who's listening. Thank you very
you.
much, Plex God. But yeah, super great. Like, both of us were just like, whatever, it's something to do. And then came out of it like, that was fucking great.
Everything. It's gory in all the right ways and fucked up in all the right ways.
So yeah, Mom and Dad, highly, highly recommend. Okay, what do we have anything for this motherfucker this week, or are we just gonna talk about like cool shit and happy memories and fun
fucking
stories?
memories.
Happy
I mean, all we're gonna talk.
children.
I'll give you a rundown real quick of this motherfucker. All of the Republicans, all 208 of them, voted against a requirement that would remove white supremacists, Nazi supporters, and extremists from the military.
Oh yeah, I fucking heard about that.
Fuck those fucks.
How many Republicans?
All
voted
of
for it?
them.
Every single one of them.
Oh no, they voted zero. Zero people voted for it.
Yeah,
Out of the
zero
Republicans. All the
So there's-
Democrats voted for it, and it passed. So fuck you, Republicans.
So that's the House of Representatives. So not the Senate. So I was thinking, even like Mitt Romney, who's the
Right.
Mormon and stuff like that. And usually he has a conscience, but he wasn't part of that vote. That would have been the
Well,
House of Representatives.
yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck them all.
Fuck
Yeah,
those
fuck 'em.
fucks. And then the other one that I thought was interesting, and it was just like a title that didn't read the whole article, but a Walgreens in Wisconsin refused to sell a woman condoms due to his faith.
I feel like that shit happens all the time, though.
Like they're supposed to go get a supervisor to do it if you don't want to do it, kind
I
of a
think it's
thing, but
gonna
they're so
happen.
understaffed.
I think it's going to happen more often because now people have been,
Emboldened.
energized and emboldened by our fabulous Supreme Court
Oh, fuck
and
me.
the fabulous choices that they've made.
Right.
So I think we're going down that path, and not just that, but everybody's fighting. Everybody's right, and everybody wants to just kind of butt heads, and this is the way it's gonna be. I mean, and like I said, you guys were talking about gay marriage is next.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
who
They're
contraception.
just gonna get rid of. But I'll be curious to see whether they get rid of the interracial. The love is the name on the.
Right.
That's the only part of it I remember, but it's pretty much
Love
allowing.
is the
Love is the, but it's like two names always. But
love and something. Thunder.
Thunder.
I mean, it's interesting that we're regressing. I mean, I guess some people would say that we're progressing
By falling backwards.
Yeah, exactly, going
Yeah.
backwards. But usually, once you do something like the abortion or gay marriage, you don't go backwards. But that looks to be the case of what we're doing now. So
right, and they kind of made a twist, like so maybe people wouldn't get upset of like, oh, listen, we're just repealing it because it should have never been a privacy issue. It should have
Right.
been a medical issue or whatever. But it's not coming back on the table. Not with this Supreme Court. It's not. I mean,
Well-
I guess they don't pick and choose what it is, but we have to now find a court case to then send to them.
Right.
Well, and the reality of it is, I didn't want to really bring this up, but the reality of it is, now you have shit happening, like you have a 10-year-old kid, a 10-year-old child who's been raped and who has to
Can't
travel.
actually have a baby. Like they would have to do a cesarean section because her hips are not actually in place.
She's not only subjected to that torture, but now she has to actually figure out a way to get across state lines because she can't have the medical procedure she needs to like avoid, this myriad of complications in her life as a 10-year-old.
And now they're trying to go after the abortion doctor who gave her service in a different state.
Of course.
Well, to be fair, I think that this maybe is a good thing because before this happened, everybody was saying, "Oh, the Senate's gone, the House of Representatives is gone. It's going to go Republican. Republicans are, we're going to go after Hunter Biden. Who gives a fuck about Hunter Biden?
Right.
We're gonna go after old Grandpa Biden because apparently he's senile and stuff like that." But I think that them with what's happened with the Supreme Court case, now the latest that I heard is it's 50-50. Like it might not actually be it might not be a bloodbath for Democrats because now, especially women, they're going to be voting for the Democrats because they're like, okay, you guys went too far. So
And all the
both sides I think are stupid.
Well, all the
Agreed.
people who
Yeah.
also said my vote doesn't count, so why bother? Are now
Right.
like going, motherfucker, well, even if it doesn't count, I at least have to fucking try
Yeah,
because now my
exactly.
rights are being stripped away.
So,
Yeah, the Supreme Court's fucking bullshit right now.
well, and the thing is that the one of them shouldn't even be there because it was Obama's pick,
Right.
and the Republicans decided to change the
That
Constitution
is-
and say,
Right.
"Fuck you, we're gonna."
Really?
We're gonna
Pretty
just
much,
yeah. It was
And
supposed
why
to be
we
Obama's
didn't fight
pick.
for that? I don't
Yeah,
get it.
Merlin Garland was supposed to be the Supreme Court pick, but the
Instead of-
Republicans said no, we're not even gonna vote for it because it was like 9 months before the election of
Oh.
Right.
2016.
But the Amy Cohen Barrett bullshit, she got
Right.
voted in even though it was his last term. Like it was the
Exactly.
exact same
Right.
fucking
That's
circumstances.
Right. I remember that.
And they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna take it." And it's like,
But the
"Of
thing
course
is-
you are, because you're a bitch, Mitch McConnell."
But the thing is, the Democrats didn't do shit, and the Democrats aren't
Right?
doing
They're
anything
never
now,
doing
so
anything, and that's why they fucking suck.
That's why both sides suck, and
Right.
That's why I just. Yeah.
This
I have a
motherfucker.
That's why I have a tiki bar and I can escape from it and whatever is going on in the outside world. Once I'm in here, it's all good.
I have a slightly lighter toned this motherfucker. We want to take it out on that.
Sure.
I don't know if you had anything else.
No, that was it.
So somebody on Twitter, her name's Rachel Vindman. She's at, oh my god, I don't have my glasses on, you guys. I'm sorry, I can't read you what her ad is.
It's at Nat School Hobby.
Charlotte
Fuck.
can't read it either.
I'm illiterate. I'm sorry.
We'll repost it on
You should
Instagram.
go to the Mormon school. You can read the hymns, but you can't read anything.
Jesus.
Anyway, Rachel Vindman reposted a tweet by a man named Clay Travis. I don't know who the fuck he is. He's got a little check mark by his name, so he's somebody.
Right.
I'm assuming he's a Republican because what he tweeted was this. Joe Biden's Justice Department is sending a 69-year-old grandma with breast cancer to prison for 60 days for trespassing and entering the Capitol on January 6th.
Right.
And
I got an idea. Don't be a bitch.
yeah, that's what her retweet was. She was basically like, life hack. Don't break the law. Follow me for more ways to make your life easier.
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny. And then you got the face of the 60-year-old grandma with breast cancer who has to go to jail for probably spearing somebody through the eye with a flag.
Isn't
Right.
it funny when Trump was in charge? It wasn't his Justice Department. It was the deep
state.
Deep state. But but now it's Biden. He's the one in charge. He's the one pulling the strings. Even though he's senile, and
Right.
he can't do anything. But
But
he's the one
magically-
that's doing it. It's all not.
It's
I mean,
such a bunch of bullshit.
it's seriously just a bunch of children just yelling at each other. And
Right.
Yeah.
We need a babysitter, and we just can't have one.
I know.
I mean, for fuck's sakes.
I often think about that because that's become such like a focus of the podcast is just bitching about the stupid shit going on in politics. But at the same time, you know, it's like we want to be the change and we want to fill our echo chamber with things that we want to be around, like rum and friends and
Exactly.
you know. So
And
we
zombies.
Right.
like to find a balance. We don't want to be so blind and pull the wool over our eyes that we don't know what's going on. But we also don't want to let it consume us.
Right.
We don't want to try to find a balance.
Because
It's hard to find a balance because nobody wants to be balanced. Everybody,
Right.
it's either you're either with me or you're against me. And
right.
Either you're watching Fox News or you're watching MSNBC. There's like it's black or white.
It's
You
us
can't-
against them, but
Right, like-
on each side.
and
right?
nobody's trying in the middle saying, okay, fuck both the sides.
Right.
I
Like,
feel
let's
like more
have a
people,
chat.
I
Are
feel like more
starting to
people
go
are
to the
starting
middle.
to get to the
I think
middle.
so too. I mean, social media is not helping.
No,
No,
absolutely.
and that's
not.
that's really what brought us here in the first place.
Right.
Misinformation, and
I mean-
I can say whatever the fuck I want because
Right.
again, if you and I were talking face to face, I wouldn't fucking call you a moron or whatever.
Sure.
But online, I can do whatever I want. You know.
Well, if you ever want to have a good laugh, go on to Breitbart and look at the comment section, or go on to Gateway Pundit, or
That's
go on.
Breitbart, Steve Bannon's,
Or,
right?
Yeah.
or even go into like on both sides. Go into the Nation and just the stupidity
Right.
of
Yeah.
the left and the stupidity of the right. The right's more fun because
Yeah.
I tend to
Right.
appreciate their craziness a little bit more. I don't know.
hate it.
Social media, I think, is I mean, I'm a history major and my fascination is with politics, but I've just completely shut myself off for the last 4 years, basically, because people are so stupid and.
They really
I
are.
mean, it's just such an echo chamber, and Fox, you're this side or this side. You can't be in between anymore. Like,
Yeah.
fuck everybody. Like, fuck the left, fuck the right.
Right.
Like, let's just have a chat. Let's have a rum. Let's
Right.
talk about things.
I think there's a problem with, and we've talked about this before, but there's a problem with being able to have an accredited source for something. Like, I've had this argument with Mom a million times, and she's like, "No, it's true because I heard it on Alex
Oh, yeah,
Jones,"
yeah.
and you're like,
Oh.
"Alex Jones is not a source. He's just a fucking
Alex
crazy
Jones is
racist."
No, Alex Jones is an actor.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is. I'm
And a
convinced.
bad one at that.
I'm convinced that there's nobody that can be as crazy as him, and nobody believes any. He doesn't believe what he's saying.
My mom believes it.
In court, he said
And
no
culture
reasonable
doesn't-
person would believe what I have to
And all
say.
those people, they can't possibly. Tucker Carlson doesn't believe a fucking thing that he's saying.
No,
look
and
how
every
much
time
money-
they go to court, every single one of them says no reasonable person would believe what I'm saying. Yet people still believe what they're fucking
People
saying.
like our
Well,
mom believe
right.
that
No, I
hook, line,
know.
and sinker.
I know, but Tucker Carlson used to be in MSNBC, and he was somewhat reasonable. I mean, he was against the Iraq War. I mean, I was against the Iraq War, and I'll give him credit for that. But he wasn't as fucking psychotic as he is now.
Because
but,
he gets more ratings and
but
more
look
money
how much
now.
money he's making. Like,
Exactly.
And
It's all about
Last
the
Supper.
money.
I honestly don't think that half the people that are that crazy believe. I don't think Alex Jones believes half the
No,
shit that he
of
says.
course not.
I
And
don't believe
culture
these
doesn't
people
believe
believe
half the
it.
shit that
Problem
they
is that
believe
the
in.
country believes it, or a quarter of the country believes it, or whatever it may
Well,
be.
people want to.
They like to be pushed a narrative that they already believed
Well,
in.
and I never understood. They only listen to news that they think is true.
Right.
They only only put themselves in a position to be exposed to things that they think are true. So Biden is obviously senile, and he's incapable of doing anything, even though he's running the Justice Department.
Right.
Some of those kissing photos of him
yeah,
kissing
he's-
his granddaughters, daughters are a little
Exactly,
creepy.
right.
Listen,
not
anything
my
can look
culture.
creepy.
But again, to be fair, I mean, Trump didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Trump was just going out there saying whatever the fuck he thought he was going to be.
and that was magic.
That was going to get elected. He's not a conservative. He's fucking from New York. He was, he was a liberal up until about 1994. So he saw an angle and he went for it. Good for him. He went insane, and he's going more towards the racist side and the xenophobia side and stuff like that. But it worked for him, and he got elected. I don't know. I don't think he believes half the stuff that he says.
No, but he likes
knows
that people follow him and listen to every word he says. So he's
Right.
like, oh, how do I do more of that? Oh, say
Right.
more unhinged
I mean,
shit.
there's been books about the election, and everybody said that he didn't even think that he was going to get elected. He did it just to, he wanted to take on Fox News, so he was thinking of a media empire post the election. Like, he was going to lose, Hillary Clinton would have been in charge, and that would have been his ticket to fame, and he would have continued on that path. But
He won by
America
accident.
has a sense of humor and say, hey, let's put this motherfucker in charge and see what happens. So,
And here we are. Here we
This
are.
motherfucker.
This motherfucker. I mean, these motherfuckers. I mean, who are we gonna elect next? I mean,
No.
Gavin Newsom from
No.
California. I don't know.
I mean,
And
honestly,
Trump
I'd be
is-
like
Trump
a
is running.
Beto or even the Buttigieg. I don't know if people would have elected a gay man, which is unfortunate, but
I honestly think the only person that could be elected right now, without a doubt, would be Michelle Obama. I think if Michelle Obama were to
I
be
thought about that
elected,
too.
but she doesn't want to deal with that.
but
shit.
also people were like, oh, more Obama, like.
right.
There could be a lot of pushback. It was kind of like the only way to have beat Trump was exactly what I hated it, but it was like it had to be Joe
Yeah.
Biden because they weren't going to. Bernie
It
Sanders
wasn't
actually
even-
would have been a
Bernie's
good
never
person,
gonna- no
but
offense
they
to
would
Bernie,
no,
but
but
he ain't gonna
there-
ever happen.
it would have if they let him. I mean, if you look back on what was it, 2016, right? He
Well.
won. Hillary Clinton didn't win that shit. They fucking cheated, and whatever, it's fine. There's a whole documentary about it.
That fits into my narrative.
that fits into my narrative.
We're never gonna be able to elect.
But no,
a
it needed to be an
socialist.
old white man. So,
Sure.
and it needed to not be Bernie Sanders because, again, socialism.
Yeah,
But, so
socially, you can't.
Biden
do that
had to
socially.
win. But now, who's next? It's not going to be Kamala Harris. It's not
Nope.
going to be, I have no idea.
Well, I think the Trump vote is going to be because of the fellow from Florida. I can't remember his name right now.
Fucking DeSantis, right.
or whatever his name. Yeah, but I don't see anybody in the I mean, supposedly Biden's not going to. Well,
I hope
if
he
he looks at
doesn't.
the polls, I mean,
He
nobody
said
wants.
he said from the
He
beginning
said I'm a
he's
one-term president.
Right.
But now, he's not. He's not saying that enough. I feel like people will be like,
Well, I
listen,
think
I'm just
he-
here to fucking get the fucking psycho out,
I think
right?
he wants to be.
He's too
reelected.
fucking old. That motherfucker.
He's too fucking
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put
This
him under this
motherfucker.
mother
All right.
because he needs to fucking back the fuck up.
There you go.
Hey, I feel like we should maybe hear a word from our sponsors.
Perfect. I have to pee.
Perfect.
And we'll be right back.
And we're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
we just did you like that commercial you just heard, Michael? It was
I
probably
did.
about a vagina.
Or some sort of what's the not tampons, the what's the whole I don't even remember our commercials anymore. Temple Twat. Something from Temple Twat is what I'm guessing.
That's
you probably
why I
just
said
listened.
vagina.
Listen.
It's a classier way of saying twat, Charlotte.
Where can I go and buy this? Temple Twat? I am fascinated.
You
now.
can use the promo code FHE Bad Mormons.
Nice. I'm gonna stock up just in case we get to go back into lockdown. I don't want to be stuck without my twat.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Stories. You guys, this might run a little bit long because now that we've been hanging out with each other, we realize we have so many stories to tell you. So we're definitely going to have to do this again. For sure.
100%.
The Tiki Bar is always open.
Fabulous.
2 a.m.
Yes.
I'm sleeping. What the fuck? Why are you here, Charlotte? Go home. The bar's closed.
Yeah.
You say you're always open.
You're a fucking liar. We're getting silly. Okay, let's see. Who wants to go first? Should I go first? Because I feel like
You
I got a pretty good lead into this.
All right, nice.
So, and I don't know why I didn't think of this the first time. So, the last time that Michael and I hung out, I want to say you were like 15, maybe older, 17?
Probably would have been 17, 18. No, I was 18 because I could buy cigarettes at the time. So I was probably 18.
Okay, 18.
Yep.
And so we had, like we said, we had known each other. We were neighbors in Mission Viejo. It had been a lot of years. And then I had moved, like I got kicked out of the house in Mission Viejo when I was in the 9th grade, I think. So I was about 15-ish, 14-ish, 15-ish.
Sounds right.
I was not having any of Jeff's bullshit authority, so he kicked me out. And so I kind of missed like a few years of like bonding that you guys all did, and I went off and did my own teenage thing. But so like you and I don't know about Laurie so much, but Tiffany and Michael were all like super good friends, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we went off to, I went back to Utah. I ended up graduating high school early. I left at 17 and I moved up to Washington with a friend of mine from high school. And slowly but surely, my mom started just like sending all my sisters to live with me. Like she sent Tiffany to live with me first. Then Laurie got sent to live with me. Charlotte never did. Charlotte can take care of herself.
I'm a really good kid, and I didn't get kicked out. So
Richard came to live with me eventually for a little bit. Anyways, so everybody kind of wound up in Bellingham, Washington. And so cut to, I don't know what year this is, and I'll have to repent for it next week, but at some point, so if you were about 18, it would have been in like, I want to say like 98, 99, 2000.
I would have been there.
2000-ish. So I haven't seen Michael since he was like a little 8-year-old kid with his
playing
baseball
baseball,
outfit. And, and my sisters are there living with me. And so Michael comes to hang out with us. And it's like Michael's turned from a, happy, chipper little baseball card having guy to like super goth man.
He likes
Super
to
goth
hear
man.
Which
The Crow.
was-
How many times have you seen The Crow?
A few times. I used to, yeah. I totally forgot about
maybe.
that. I honestly haven't seen The Crow since I haven't seen about 12 years, 15 years. But that's right, I did see it a lot.
I kind of missed the goth phase myself. Like I did a little punk phase, and then I went straight into this hippie thing, which was
Unfortunate.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know what happened. There was some drugs.
It was regrettable.
Yeah, there was drugs involved. And then I got into the goth later.
Yeah.
But Michael was full goth, and
I was full
Not
goth.
just
it was
dressing. Like,
everything.
I dressed goth, but I was never like fuck everything. I was still pretty happy goth.
I always have to say, like, okay, this is pre-Marilyn Manson, like
Yes.
pre
Yes.
everything that, there's nothing wrong with the Marilyn Manson and what happened afterwards.
Sure, there is.
Well,
Actually, there is.
but this is before all of that kind of happened. I had the black nail polish, I had the eyeliner. I was a Cure fan, so I was more of a Cure fan, with the goth tendencies, but yeah.
Black pants, like
Black
Dickies,
Docks, yeah.
black t-shirts,
Everything
black hat,
black
black sunglasses.
Yeah, I was wearing.
Right?
I had my hat at the time.
I feel like when I was in school, there was like a crossroads that everyone came to, and it was either you went goth and Cure and Smiths and all that stuff, or you went metal. and I went metal.
Yeah.
See, when I was in high school, I was the only one that went down that path. So it was, I was the only one. Before Marilyn Manson. Then once Marilyn Manson hit, then everybody was
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So.
Well, so Michael showed up at our house in full goth. And we were like,
without any packing, by the way. So I like I said, I had a little bit of a nervous breakdown, and I drove there without packing. I was at my friend's house and just drove and ended up in Bellingham. So there you go. So I had one pair of clothes, and I wasn't prepared.
Please tell me you borrowed some of Mandy's.
I can't. I think I stopped at Target or something like that.
Sounds right. Yeah.
But where the story is going, this makes it even more entertaining.
Fair.
And so we were in this full hippie thing going on.
What was it called?
The hippie phase?
Yeah, no, okay. I thought we were talking about where you were at.
No, not yet. We're in this full hippie phase. We're like making our own patchwork shirts and shit. We're taking a lot of acid, okay? There's hemp necklaces everywhere.
You guys weren't just hippies. I mean, you were disgustingly hippie. I mean, fucking hell. You guys were hippies.
My brother Casey had given me 3 Volkswagen buses, so I was on the 3rd one when you got there, the purple one.
Yep.
Anyways, and we were headed to this thing in Tenasket called the Barter Fair, which was like a small version of like Burning Man, kind of.
But with more hippies somehow. More hippie than Burning Man.
Yeah, less ravers, more hippies.
Fucking elves is why it was there. I mean, people fucking dressed as wizards and elves. I mean, they were probably...
You mean like the Ren Fair?
I still have nightmares about this fucking weekend.
Listen, this isn't a long story because you guys have already heard it. So you might remember the story, if you're a past listener, of the time that we all went to the Barter Fair. My sister Tiffany stepped on a cactus. She got stuck on the side of the hill. She was high on mushrooms.
Oh, mushrooms.
Yeah. Her and Laurie had taken mushrooms or acid or something. And she stepped on cactuses with both feet, had to drag herself down off the mountain in the dark. The rest of us were drinking the bottomest of bottom shelf tequilas, singing a song about Pancho Villa, the namesake of the tequila. The Northern Lights are happening, and I'm just fighting with everyone, trying to tell everybody to shut the fuck up because it's just moonbeams. It was a total shit show. Anyways, Michael was there.
So I think I was wearing black Dickies. I was wearing Doc Martens. I think I had like 2 Smith shirts on.
Like 2 at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. Probably. Back then I was layering my clothes because the sun was evil and I don't ruin my moon tan. So I had black nail polish probably still on my fingers. I don't know if I had eyeliner on, but I was different than everybody there, and everybody there was celebrating, diversity and stuff like that, and holding hands, and I had my fuck you face, and just, I mean,
God, I wish I would have been there for that.
Yeah. I don't think you guys even told me where I was going.
Probably not.
I think the night before you guys gave me a bunch of plum wine. I think I threw my brains out after the second bottle. And then I woke up that next morning, and then all of a sudden, you guys are saying, let's go. I said, oh, okay, let's go somewhere,
Get in the van, Michael.
Yeah, this is going to be an experience. Get in the van, which is never good when you hear that phrase.
Get in the fucking van, Michael.
Especially if it's a VW van. And there's Grateful Dead playing, it's never a good idea.
Yeah, I never liked the Grateful Dead. I want to clarify that. I never liked the Grateful Dead.
I actually like the Grateful Dead.
Really?
Of course you do.
I like the early Grateful Dead. Some of the later stuff is shit. But anyways, at the time, I certainly did not like the Grateful Dead. But yeah, I was different, and I ended up at some fucking hippie festival in the middle of fuck knows where. What state.
Washington.
I was in Washington. There's people dressed like elves. There's people dressed. I mean, it was like the worst. Like, I want to say like Dungeons and Dragons, fucking nerds and stuff like that. And,
no, that would be a whole different crowd.
Well, but that's what they were dressed like. Like they thought they were in like a Renaissance fair /
Barter fair.
Hippie. I mean, and there's people.
Let me trade you drugs for wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah, candles that I made.
Right. I made this patchwork dress.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll sell you it for 15 hits of acid.
I mean, looking back on it now, it was an experience, and I can say that I've been there before. So
I've never been there before.
I grew because of the experience. But boy, I remember just walking around. I think it was like a big circle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a big tent circle or something like that. I remember just walking around and around because originally, like, I was friends with Tiffany, and I went there to hang out with Tiffany, and then she got fucked up and stepped on a cactus, so she was out. So I was basically stuck by myself. I think Charlotte was on drugs, or you weren't there. Laurie, I think I was hanging out with Laurie, and then she got fucked up and went on drugs. So I was just walking around.
And you weren't on drugs for some reason?
I was walking around in this entire loop. I'm like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck am I doing? Who are these fucking people? I don't know if it was one of you guys' friend or something like that, but I think they realized how miserable I was, or just I wasn't part of there. Somebody gave me ecstasy.
Nice.
That was the first time I ever did ecstasy.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever did ecstasy, but I had to get out of my head because it was either drinking your shit tequila.
It was real shitty.
It was real shitty. Or hang out with all these fucking hippies. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to hang out with these hippies, I need to be fucked up.
Right.
So,
How was the experience after you took the ecstasy?
I don't remember. I remember I made a friend. We ended up somewhere in a tent, and we were chatting about life and, having a deep conversation, which we were probably slobbering on. I don't know what we're talking about. But I do remember having, I met somebody who kind of I wasn't calmed down, but I found somebody that I could chat with as I'm high on ecstasy and stuff like that. I mean, nothing physical happened or anything like that, but we were able to talk. I mean, there was enough speed in it that we were able to chat the entire night and stuff like that. And I was able to not remember where I was because, boy.
I have a picture, and I won't post it without your permission, but I'll have to dig it out because it's an actual
very curious
physical picture. And
I know which one you're
It's you sitting in the van doors open, the sliding door, and you're just sitting there like.
You face. Where?
Yeah,
like,
I hate
I fucking
everything.
hate everything.
Right.
See, and it's funny because when I see that picture, I was like, he hates everything, but he doesn't really hate everything. It's like, no,
I hated
you
everything.
did. You hated
I hated everything. But since then, I've grown. I have a sense of humor. I think now I would have appreciated it. I would have had more of a sense of humor. My drug days are way beyond me. But
yeah, that's why it's okay to talk about
right,
it
but
now.
I would have had more fun. But back then, I was not a pleasant person to be around. So I'm surprised y'all took me there. But
I was too drunk to notice.
Yeah.
I wasn't very empathetic to other people's feelings, I guess.
Well, I didn't vocalize. I mean, it was just through my eyes. I mean, if you saw my eyes, I'm sure there's a picture.
I'm going to show you that picture.
Yeah, you could probably see it in my eyes.
Yeah.
See, I just thought that was your face.
I still have that face, by the way. Like I still have the fuck you, fuck everything. But
it's like the whole like this.
Yes, that's it.
That's why I became a manager, because I have that face that I have to have that face at all times. Like, the employees, you can't, they might fart around, do something weird, so I have to have that face at all times. But then once I started to talk, I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's taking the piss. He's alright. So. But yeah, like I said, looking back on it, I'm glad that I went. It was a unique experience. No, not very many people have had it, but it was.
It was a thing.
It was a thing, and that was the wrong time for me to go to something like that.
You're already having a nervous breakdown, and you're like, "Oh, let me go hang out with a bunch of fucking hippies that I cannot stand."
That was the first time I did ecstasy, and I remember hallucinating just profusely. Before that, I had done a bunch of acid before. In my high school years, I did way too much acid, so I think ecstasy, just immediately I was hallucinating. I don't remember what I saw, but I remember enjoying life.
Yeah, it's usually
after I
the
took the
feeling.
Like a nice, like, oh, this is not so bad.
Yeah, I was pissed off, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep walking around the circle until everybody's fantastic. I love everybody.
And this is why everyone should do drugs.
Yeah, everybody should come hug me now. Oh, that would be nice.
Everyone should also go to Apple Podcasts
and leave us a review.
Leave us a review and a rating.
You can check out our website at FHEBadMormons.com.
We're also looking for likes and subscribes on our YouTube channel.
Hey, if you're enjoying what you're listening to and you want to listen to a whole lot more of it, and you just really want to tell us how much you like us, become a patron for as little as $3, and as much as you'd like to give us.
And lastly, you can get our official merch, which is on our link tree, which is on all of our social medias.
Which you can go on to see that picture of Michael, of him looking fucking miserable. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest.
We'll see you next week.
Tumblr.
We'll see you next week for the parable, which will be the rest of this episode that we're going to record for you right now.
Later.
Later.